Hello, welcome to the course on comparison of Chinese and Brazilian economies. I'm Da Haifu from Central University of Finance and Economics in Beijing of China. I'm very happy to have this chance to introduce the Chinese economies and make a comparison with Brazil to you. And I hope through my course you can know much more about the Chinese and Brazilian economies. In this short course, I will go through all these contents. First, I will discuss the economic differences between China and Brazil in different dimensions, like total population, GDP growth, GDP per capita, and other economic dimensions. Then you can know much more about the difference between these two largest developing countries. Second, I will introduce you the bilateral trade relationships to look at how much trade between these two countries and how much China's FDI flows to the Brazil's. Is there some special features of the trade and FDI between these two countries? The third, I will discuss why China grows so fast, and we can see some informations to look at what we can learn from China's growth model. And the fourth part, I will discuss the new trends for business in China. Finally, I will summarize some implications for Brazil's future growth. So first, I want to raise this simple question: where are China and Brazil? I think most of you maybe know, or some of you maybe don't. So from this world map, you can see China and Brazil are in different part of the world and the most distant countries between these two countries. If you take a flight, it will take 1 day, 4 hours to fly from Beijing to the capital of Brazil, Brasilia, right? If I pronounced right. Actually, I think 3 years ago, I went to Brazil once and take a flight transferred at I think Germany, and also takes more than 24 hours. It's a very long journey. So you can see China located in the East Asia and at the rim of the Pacific Ocean, and but Brazil in the south atmosphere across the South Atlantic Ocean. So these two countries are largest developing countries, but they have a long way between these two countries. So also due to the long distance between two countries, so in the history, these two countries, China and Brazil, they have no special political conflicts, and also they have little culture connections. So it's also bring the advantage for these countries to cooperate with each other. So another question I want to ask: how much do you know about China? Uh, Mention the China, maybe you will say, okay, I know Great Wall is in China, and Panda from China, and some famous guys like Jackie Chan from Hong Kong, China, and if you like basketball, you know the Yao Ming used to play in NBA in United States, and Alibaba and Jack Ma is also a famous guy in China, and also you will maybe you will know some brand names from China like Huawei or Alibaba or some others, or Haio. But also because I know Brazil had once the Olympic Games, and you maybe Also know Beijing had the Olympic Games in 2008, and now this year Beijing will also another Winter Olympic Games. Okay, so I think maybe mention China, you know some specific features or some short informations. So actually, as for me, know how much I know about Brazil. Actually, I go to the website to I filling a quiz from the PRO purpose. Actually, I have just 69 score of this short quiz. So I also have uh, I also don't know much about Brazil, right? Uh, Although I went to Brazil once and experienced some Brazil culture, but as for many Chinese people, they maybe also like you know some specific features and some famous guy like Ronaldo and Brazil football and Rio and some famous cities. So actually, Chinese also don't know much more about the Brazil. So I think as for the people from both of these countries, I think they should have more information about each other and they should have more uh, channels to know each other. So I think this lectures or this short course I think is very important for you, and also this is also one chance or the one channel for you to know about the China. Okay, so this is also I also very happy to take this course. So let's look at some economic differences between China and Brazil. So first, let's look at the territory of these two countries. We know that China and Brazil are ranked fourth and fifth in terms of the areas. In the world, they are ranked four and five, followed by Russia, Canada, and the United States. So, in terms of the territory, China and Brazil share some similarities. Okay, there's the areas are very similar, very similar. Also, they have a long ocean lines, and some have a large inland. Okay, so this is but in terms of population, you can see China and Brazil, they show the different, a large difference. You know that China always rank first in terms of the total population. You can see during the last 60 years, China's population grows from 0.6 billion to the 1.4 billion. So China still the first largest country in the world, but you can see the Brazil also the population is increased, but the speed is slower than China. So Brazil now in the 2020 it just have the I think have the 0.2 billion people. So just it accounts just for the 15.5%. So you can see the difference between the total population also will have the different impact on the economic growth. Like if you have a large pool of population, maybe you will have a large pool of cheap labor and skilled workers, and also maybe you will have a large domestic market. So this is all due to the large population. But also the population also have another impact. That means you will have less GDP per capita, and you have the less fact endowment per capita. So the population size will have a two sides effect. Okay, one positive, maybe another is negative. Okay, so this is, I think this is the first fundamental difference between China and Brazil in terms of total population. There's a large gap. This figure shows us the rural population of the total population in China and Brazil. You can see both of China and Brazil experience dramatic urbanization during the past 60 years, from the 1960 to the 2020. You can see the rural population's share is decrease consistently. But now you can see China still have a high level of rural population, almost about the 38% maybe. But in Brazil, there's the share is just maybe about 15%. So in Brazil, they have a large population living in the urban areas, but China still on the way to the urbanization. So this is also the major trend between China and Brazil. So look at this figure. You can see the population structure aged 65 and above. This figure just shows the aging population. So you can see both China and Brazil shows a similar trend in terms of aging population. So you can see the share of the aged people in China always higher than in Brazil. It has a rise at 12% in the 2020, but Brazil always less. Okay, just about 9.5 or 6% in the 2020, but the trend is increasing. So in China nowadays, we always discussing how the aging population affect the future growth. So this is a very important questions, and because with a large population of the aging people, that means the share of working force in this country will be less, and the wage level will increase, and we need to change the growth model from the cheap labor to some high quality development model. So aging population maybe also we should address a lot in the future, both in China and Brazil. So this figure shows the birth rate. Birth rate, you can see birth rate for the in the China and Brazil always decrease, and have a both have the same trend. But for China, you can see it's a fluctuate. Okay, because China used to have a one-child policy, but afterwards the government reduced this control policy gradually. And nowadays, the Chinese families usually you can have two kids. You have two kids, but this relaxation of child policies didn't have some consistent or long run effect. They just have a very short term effect, because nowadays with urbanization, the cost of raising kids becomes high and high. Some young couples don't want to raise small kids. Okay, so the birth rate is still very low, even low than Brazil. So this is also very important issues in the future, with aging population increase but birth rate decrease. So the structure of population will become severe for these countries.